Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I've got a really fun spring video for you guys today, all drugstore. I've gathered together some amazing drugstore makeup products, older and newer, and we're gonna put them all on my face today. I have a brand new lip liner that I just discovered that I cannot wait to show you guys. It is so good. These lashes, you probably didn't even know I had false lashes on. I do have a corner set of lashes, a new pair that I have just discovered that I think is amazing and is pretty affordable. So we'll talk about those and try them out today as well. Should be a fun one. I hope you guys are excited. Before we get into it, a special welcome if you are a new visitor here. Please consider subscribing, make sure notifications are on. And with that out of the way, let's get to the makeup. Let's start things off with the primer. I want to use the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer today. I have been raving about the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer for the last couple of videos. And I mentioned this one's not an exact dupe for that primer. It is close. It's not quite the same. I do like the Milk one a little bit more, but I'm trying to use this one a little bit more so I can compare them a little bit better. For some reason, I just feel this one like it doesn't soak into my skin as well as the Milk one does. It almost like skips over my skin. I have to spend a little bit more time like pressing it in. Whereas the Milk Makeup one, I really feel that one kind of soaking into my skin, absorbing. This one's just a little bit different, but once it's on, I feel like they kind of perform similarly. All right, now that that's soaked in, let's stick with e.l.f. We're gonna use my Camel CC Cream today. I use the shade 240W. This one is a very yellow toned shade. It's almost even a little bit yellow toned for me, and I am someone that generally likes a more yellow undertone. I'm hoping that it's not going to be too light, just in case. I'm gonna grab my Wet n Wild foundation. This one's in the shade Caramel. It's quite a bit too dark for me, but I sometimes like to mix this in with foundations that are a little bit too light. So let's just give this a little test. I feel like it'll be okay. We'll go ahead and stick with it and just use a little extra bronzer if we need to. And I'm blending that in with my Wet n Wild sponge. I need to pick up another sponge or two. I really like these sponges. They just don't last super long, which is probably a good thing. I don't think it's probably a good idea to keep rewashing and reusing your sponges for months and months and months. I sometimes do that to try and save money, but I know that they harbor bacteria, so I should probably replace them more often than I do. It's not even like the money, it's just that I forget to buy them when I'm out, so I just keep using the same ones over and over again. I'm sure that grosses out all you germaphobes out there. I really love this stuff though. It has such good coverage. So that was one full pump of the CC cream. Let's move on to a concealer. We're gonna use my Physicians Formula Butter Glow Concealer. Again, this is the only concealer that I have been using for the last week and a half or so. We're gonna start with this one, which is the lightest shade. This is the Fair to Light. I'm just putting a tiny bit of this down the center of my nose, on my eyelids, and take one tiny little dot right here, just to try and brighten up that little blue pocket that I have. Tiny bit right here, kind of like doing some highlighting with this and concealing at the same time. Then this one, which is light medium, is a better shade match for me, so I'm gonna use a little bit more of this one on the perimeter of my face, a little bit more under my eyes, right here on this outer corner of my eye where I have some discoloration. And then a little further up on my forehead again, where I just have a couple of things. All right, now we're gonna start blending the darker concealer out first. Then I'll move in and blend out the lighter color. You guys tried this concealer out yet? I know I've been raving about it for a couple of weeks now. I really love it. Okay, there we go. Concealer looks great, nice and covered. Let's add a little bit of powder before that starts to crease, particularly on my eyelids and forehead. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Powder. This one is in translucent. I'm gonna use this to just set down my eyelids. So I didn't buy these, but I have been enjoying them and trying this out for a while. I don't think it's very glowy. Like, it kind of just seems like a just standard setting powder. Maybe it does have like a subtle sheen to it, but it's not very obvious. I don't think it's even as glowy as the Hourglass glowy setting powders are. I do like it though. Okay, now I'm looking very nice and pale. Let's add a little bit of bronzer. For that, I'm gonna take my e.l.f. bronzer in Forever Sun-Kissed. Just realized I've got a lot of e.l.f. products in front of me today. That was not really intentional. They do make great drugstore makeup though. Maybe that's why. So I'm just gonna take this on my Rephr 22 brush. I'm gonna put quite a bit of bronzer on because I do think my color match on my face is just a little bit light. So I want to try and tie my face down to the color on my neck, so we're kind of taking the excess and just pulling it down here along the side of my ear and down my neck, a little bit up on the forehead. Oh, I can't stand wearing hoop earrings when I'm applying makeup. They just are in the way. Just a tiny bit here across my nose and a little bit across the center of my face. I don't normally put bronzer there unless I need to add a little bit of color, like if I didn't get a shade match right. All right, nice and warmed up. Let's move on to my blush, and I am obsessed with this. I mentioned it in my last video. I have been using this blush non-stop for the last week and a half. It's from Physicians Formula. This is their Butter Glow Pressed Powder in Natural Glow. This is the prettiest blush that I own right now. I just am so impressed with it. I think it's such a beautiful color. Let me see if I can swatch it for you guys. I mean, you get some like rosiness in here, some gold, even a little bit of like brown. It has a subtly bronzing quality to it, at least for my skin tone. So there it is right there. It's definitely pretty not shimmery. It has a nice strong sheen to it, but it's so pretty on the cheeks. I love this stuff. I've already been considering buying a backup of this, which is crazy because I don't think I've ever ran out of a blush ever in my life. Like, I don't think I've even come close to running out of a blush before, but I have a feeling I might run out of this one. Maybe I'm just a little excited about it because it's new, but don't you think that's such a pretty color? And on days when I'm in a really big hurry, you can use this all on its own. It kind of does a little bit of bronzing. It has some shimmer in it, so it highlights a little bit at the same time. You can kind of use it as like a one and done, just quick cheek color product. It even has some like sculpting properties to it. It's kind of cool toned at the same time. I just think it's gorgeous. I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about it. Let's add a little bit of highlighter. We don't necessarily need highlighter today because this does have quite a bit of sheen in it, but I am not often one to skip highlighter, so let's use this one right here. This is Precious Petals from Wet n Wild, an old favorite of mine. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of this right above where I put that blush. This is a very strong highlighter. Ooh, I kind of forgot that until I put my brush on my cheek, and then I remembered. Gotta be a little more light-handed with this, Mandy. We'll take care of that kind of stripiness just with my sponge. Just tap it over the top. Okay, let's go with our brows next. So I want to go back to the NYX Dip Shape and Go. I really like this stuff. It has the most amazing spoolie that I've raved about before. It's not that complicated. I feel like when I explain that it's a very complicated product, that kind of makes me sound not very smart because there's really just 3 different compartments, but for some reason, I feel like it's kind of complicated. So you have the brush on the top here that you pull off, and then this part twists, and you have the spoolie, and then down here also twists, and you have the little bit of product in here. Sorry, that tree is like covering. So there's probably not a ton of product in here, but you really do not need much at all. I use the shade Ash Brown. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this on the angled brush. Now I actually think if you have an even smaller brush than this, something that's even, this is just a little bit kind of chubby for being a thinner brow brush. If I am using a dip type product in my brows, which I don't use super often, but I like a brush that's very, very tiny and very, very thin. This one's not quite as thin as I like, but it does work well. Especially if you're in a hurry, you can swipe this on pretty quick if you don't want to be as precise and you just want to be speedy. I'm going to try and be a little bit more precise if I can. Kind of like to brush it up and then out. So I picked mine up at a Marshall's, but I think I've seen it on Ulta's website. Or was it like Target's website? I'll link it down below for you guys. I'm pretty sure it was Ulta. Do you guys buy a lot of makeup off of Amazon? I occasionally like to try and link things on Amazon when I can find them, because I know Amazon is like the most convenient thing in the world. I mean, how many of you are on Amazon every 4 or 5 days just because you need, you know, batteries or ran out of hair gel or something, and you can find anything on there? There was a point last year that I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna use Amazon. I'm gonna stop being lazy. I'm gonna support local businesses, and I can't stay away. It's just too convenient. Oh, I kind of hate myself for it, but. All right, so brows are filled in pretty well. They look pretty good. I think that color is a good match for me. Okay, let's see if I can put this thing back together. So this twists in there. This twists on the bottom. This goes on the top. There we go. Let's add some brow setter. We're gonna use my brow styling soap set from Essence that I've been loving. So I just wet my spoolie, start kind of working it into clear soap, and then we're gonna just brush these brows upright. Set them in place. All right, let's move on to the eyes. We're gonna use a simple palette that I have not used for a while. This is one of my favorites for spring. I just got done talking about it. It's the Blush Crush palette. I know it's a favorite of many of you as well. What better one to kick off the spring season with than this one? It's just one of those palettes that you just can't screw up. I'm gonna prove that to you guys right now. Okay, so I'm gonna jump in first with this shade in the corner. This shade barely shows up on me. It is pretty light. Probably more of a highlight shade for those of you that have more medium skin tones, but you'll see it gives this like really soft, kind of blushy tone above the crease, and I love going with this one and then adding this one directly below it, or even this one right here. Just gives a really pretty gradient effect that works so well with this palette. Let's see if I can do this whole thing without any cuts. I'm just gonna like throw this on really quickly so you guys can see how quickly you can get a polished, put together look with this palette. Just taking a little bit of the color in the center, that pink, and we're gonna run this right here at the outer corner, just so it peaks right up above the outer half of my crease. Same on this side. Okay, and just with what's left on my brush, I don't want my lower lash line to be too pink, but I do want to just kind of pull a little bit of that color down here below. Just to keep it really nice and diffused. All right, now let's add a little bit more to the outer corner. We're gonna take this shade right here. This one has a little bit more brown in it. It's a little bit deeper. This one's gonna go right through the socket. A little bit further in, about 2/3 of the way in. Just to add some definition there. I'm also gonna take a little bit of this color, barely on the tip of my brush, down below the lower lash line halfway in. Same on the other side. All right, with that same brush, this is from Sydney Grace. It's like their mid-sized blending brush. We're gonna take this deep kind of shimmery berry tone right here. Actually, scratch that. I want to take this one right here. I don't want it too dark and smoky. This color is pretty dark. Let's go with this softer, kind of more mauve tone here. It's called How Rouge. And we're just gonna pop this right along the lash line. And then just in circle motions, kind of feather it up and in just a little bit. Same on this side. Okay, now I'm gonna take a little bit more of that color and run that under the lower lash line. I just think that is such a pretty color. Just a little bit, only in about maybe 1/3 of the way. Just to tie it to this outer corner here. So pretty. Okay, let's add a little bit of a shimmer. We're gonna take this one first. This is the shade Blossom Up. It's kind of a mid-tone, just soft pink, has a little bit of a gold sparkle to it. It's not overly metallic, a little bit softer of a shine. Can add that to the outer half of the lid. I'm gonna take a clean finger, just blend out that inner edge. And then we're gonna top it with this one. This one is very, very reflective and kind of icy. It's gonna give my eyes a nice pop. If you don't like something as icy and reflective, you can go with this shade right here, which is a little bit more subtle and subdued. But I love something nice and bright on my inner lid, especially when I'm working with pinks. I just think it's so flattering and pretty. And this shade for me has a pretty serious dent in it. I've used this shade a lot. Pretty sure this is like a Super Shock formula. All right, so that's gonna take care of the eyeshadow. Let's add some liner. Today I'm gonna use this one. This is from LA Girl. This is the Ultimate Intense Wear Auto Liner in the shade Lasting Brown. I'm just gonna add a little bit of a wing. We are gonna be using some new lashes that I cannot wait to show you guys today. So I need a little bit more liner than usual. If I'm using anything lash-wise, especially because I'm not a master at applying even a corner set of false lashes, which is what these will be, I feel like I need some extra liner on just to cover up if I don't get my lashes in exactly the right spot. So here are the lashes that we're gonna use. I will apply mascara, but I wanna show you guys these lashes first. These are from Eyelure. I've shown you guys the green box of these, the Trixalicious ones. Those ones I've had a hard time finding. I did find them on Amazon recently. I went on there to buy another set and discovered that they're a lot more expensive than they used to be. I wanna say that the green box is now like $12 or $13, which I thought was a little bit steep. I remember it being a lot cheaper than that several months ago. But this set, these are the Instabel lashes. They're a little bit smaller. They were much cheaper. I think these are $6.95, or at least they were when I checked yesterday. So I thought we'd try these out instead. I have used them a couple of times myself. They're actually really pretty. They're a lot more subtle and soft, and they actually only work when I apply a light amount of mascara, but they do give you that kind of like cat eye look with a smaller set of lashes. So let me just show you guys how these work today. So before I do that, I'm gonna apply a little bit of my Maybelline Sky High mascara. I'm just gonna apply one soft coat of this because when I tried these out the other day and applied like 2 full heavy coats of mascara, I felt like the mascara drowned out the lashes. Like they didn't show up very much or they didn't add very much. They're kind of more for shaping your eyes than for giving you really intense dramatic lashes. And maybe if you are someone that has had a hard time finding a set of lashes for you that is a little bit more on the subtle side, maybe you don't like lashes that are too long or too intense, this might be a good option because they're not overly long. They're much more natural looking. And the band is so tiny. I've never seen a band this tiny. So when you look down, you don't see, like I have another, let me just show you guys these real quick as well. I've been experimenting lately. So I found this cheap set of quarter lashes from Amazon. They're not as pretty as the other ones that I have tried. They're a little bit too full to where you can tell where you're, especially when you're using a half set of lashes, if they're too full, you can tell where they start and where they end. So I feel like you need something a little bit more sparse. And also the band on these ones, when you look down, even though it's clear, it's very thick, so you can kind of see the shine on it. It just looks a little bit more fake, whereas these ones really blend in. Okay, so I applied just a light amount of mascara. Let me show you guys a little close-up of these. I'm not sure if that's gonna come through. You can see there's basically just like, these are the corner ones, the quarter lashes. They're just like 4 little clusters of lashes. I just put some glue right where those clusters are. This is the black duo glue. So I'm just gonna take these and just pop them right here at the outer corner. You wanna make sure that outer corner gets all the way to the edge of your eye. Make sure that's down and secure. Okay, and there we go. Hopefully you guys can kind of see. It just adds that little bit of like elongation, is that a word? On the corner of your eyes, gives you that kind of cat eye look, but it's not over the top. If you can see, it's not too long. The other ones I have are quite long. They actually kind of almost hit my eyebrows. These ones are a little bit shorter, but they do still kind of have that feathery cat eye effect, which I think is so pretty. And they're also super easy to apply. You guys, I am not good at applying false lashes. In fact, I cannot apply full strip sets of lashes. They just don't work for me for some reason. That might just be my lack of skill. But for whatever reason, I've never, in all the times I've tried, been successful at getting them to work for me. So this is the way to go. Much easier. They're much more comfortable. I can't even feel them on my eyes. Anytime I've felt that lashes were uncomfortable, it's always the inner corner that feels uncomfortable to me, and you don't have that with these, which is so nice. All right, there we are. Eyes are finished. Aren't those so pretty? I just think they're so soft and so pretty. If you've been afraid to try false lashes, maybe they intimidate you, whether that's just the look of the lashes or the application of them, I definitely recommend these. They're a lot more natural looking and they're much more easy to apply. Let's finish off with the lips. So I want to show you guys, I got some new lip liners. This is the only thing that I ended up buying during the Ulta 21 Day of Beauty sale. I didn't even really have these on my radar necessarily. I just happened to be browsing the website, the sale one day, and saw that these were on sale. I'm kind of considering these drugstore because they're pretty affordably priced even prior to the sale. They're these lip liners from a newer brand called About Face. I've never tried anything out from this brand before. They were $12 originally and on sale for $6. So I got mine for $6 each. But I am in love with these lip liners. Long wearing lip liners have been one of my saving graces over the last few years when it comes to makeup, because I just feel like my lips need some overlining, but in a natural way. I love the Charlotte Tilbury ones. They're just a little bit not out of my budget, but they're a little more expensive than I like to spend. These ones I have really been enjoying though. I think the shades are really, really great, and they definitely are very long wearing. So this one I've really been into using lately, just on this like center portion and top portion right at like the center. It is a little bit darker. It's called Midnight Seduction. I've been wearing this lip liner probably every day for the last 2 weeks. So there's the color right there. It is a little bit deeper. It kind of reminds me of a more mauve-y version of Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. That one's a little bit more almost gray toned. If you're familiar with that lip liner, you'll know what I'm talking about. In fact, why don't we just swatch them next to each other? Though I feel like this video is getting very long. Okay, so here's Iconic Nude. Do you guys see what I mean? This one just has a little bit more pink in it, whereas Iconic Nude is more of just like a beige. Then I also picked up this shade. This one is called Cradled. This is also a really nice nude. A little bit more of like a beigey nude. There it is right there. Actually, this one, like Iconic Nude, is like a perfect marriage of these two shades right here. Very, very nice. And then this one's a little bit on the light side. This is the shade Happy Endings. This is a really, really, truly like beigey nude. I actually like combining this one with Cradled. There it is right there. Very pretty if you like a very blanked out kind of nude lip, or if you have very, very fair skin and you find a lot of lip liners are just too bold for you. I've just been very impressed with these, and I would recommend them even at the full price, which is $12. And I kind of, again, am considering that drugstore today. Even though technically these might not be drugstore, that's half the price of Charlotte Tilbury, so we're gonna just go with it. So let's start with this one right here. Midnight Seduction, this is the darker one. I'm just gonna overline right below the center of my lips. So this is the trick with this one. You need to blend it pretty quickly because it is so dark. I like to smudge it out really well and almost like press some of that color in towards my lips to blend it out. And same thing on top, just right in the center. Subtle overline. Again, let me get a clean finger and just smudge that out. I'm gonna give those about 20 seconds, 30 seconds to really set in, lock in place. And then I'm gonna go with this one. This is the lighter, more nude version. Fill in the center of the lips with this one, and then we'll top it all off with a gloss. Use my finger to blend that in. Okay, now that that's nice and locked in, let's take a little bit of Creme Brulee from NYX. It's a nice basic nude peachy pink. And here it is, you guys, the finished makeup look using some really great drugstore makeup. What did you guys think of this one? Are any of these products your favorites as well? Have you tried out some of the new Physicians Formula stuff? What do you guys think of these lashes? I think they are so, so pretty. And I truly can't even feel that they are on. Like, they feel invisible, which is so amazing because I cannot stand the way that false lashes feel on my eyes. I hope you guys enjoyed this simple little spring look. Let me know, what products are you guys really excited about this spring? I know there is a ton of new makeup out there. I have not tried it all, so if there's something that really has your attention or that you are just in love with, let me know. I would love to check it out. But that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys for watching, for stopping by. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me remind you one more time, please subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Great. This is what happens when I pin my hair up. My curls get like a weird shape to them.